creating. Alright guys, so today's quick video we're going to talk about creating the saving mentality and why it's important to pay yourself first. So to take a quote out of one of my favorite books, The Richest Man in Babylon, you will learn to become rich when you first learn that a portion of all you earn is yours to keep. Now most people argue that all their money is theirs to keep and that they spend it on what they want and it's all theirs, but really it's not. You know, for your clothes, you pay the retailer. For, you know, your food, you pay the grocer. For your electricity, you pay your electric company. For your water, you pay your water company. And often what happens is with most people, there's nothing left over for them. Now, I don't know about you, but it really doesn't make sense to me to work all week, you know, 40, 50 hours a week, 60, 70, 80 hours a week for some people, to not have anything left over for me. Now, most people will argue, well, you know, I can't afford to pay my bills as it is. Well, the problem with that is if you can't afford to pay your bills now, you're never going to really be able to afford to pay your bills probably. So what I recommend is that you start paying yourself first. Take 10%, you know, take an hour or two a day of your pay, whatever, depends on your pay schedule. I recommend 10%. If that's too much for you to start, don't start with 10%. You know, start a little bit less than that. But start paying yourself first. Make that the first bill you pay is you. Because one thing that'll do is it feels good to have money. A man is at his best, or a woman is at her best, when they have a little bit of money in their pocket. Because you're not afraid to make decisions. Because if you have nothing in your pocket and somebody comes up to you and says, you know, if there's a great business idea, you know, it's not going to cost you much to get started, and you look at it and it does happen to be a fantastic idea that's going to make you a lot of money, and you know that you're going to see a lot of people making a lot of money with this business, but you don't have any money to risk, then you're not going to try it, and you're not going to go for it. And going for the gusto, going out there and trying is really what makes you the money. Persistence, not stopping, learning from your mistakes. So without having that money in your pocket, you're not willing to go out and make those mistakes, so you can't go out and make any money. Another thing that happens is with that money that you're putting aside, you can use that as your nest egg to start building you more money, more revenue, and start getting things coming in to where that interest from that money is actually starting to make you more than your job. Now once that interest from that money is starting to make you more than your job, you can quit your job and do whatever you want for a living and not have to worry about how much you're getting paid to do it, because you already are set. You have enough money. So what I recommend is a very simple plan, okay, is you take 10% of your money every time you get paid and you put it away, okay, and don't touch that money unless it can make you at least 10%. Now if it can make you 10% interest or more, then you move it to where it can get you those gains. Once you get those gains, you take it and you put it back. I recommend putting it back, including the gains if you're young, especially. Don't spend your interest right away. It builds up a lot. Compound interest builds up a lot quicker when you keep compounding it and you keep putting the extra revenue that it makes back in addition to the 10% that you're already putting in from your job. Now you're already used to living how you were living anyway, so not spending that interest isn't going to hurt you at all. It's just going to make it so you can retire a little bit quicker, and so you won't have to work for a few extra years that you would if you were spending that money. So these are a few reasons why I want to tell you that it's important to pay yourself first. Now a lot of people argue and will tell me that they can't pay themselves first because of this or that, and that, you know, they're worried that they're not going to be able to afford their bills. But that's really the great thing about paying yourself first, is it puts your mind in a position where you have to come up with extra money to pay those bills. Your budget will naturally adjust to having saved that money and not having that money put away, or not having that extra money to spend. So with that being said, just start paying yourself first. take that extra money, feel good about yourself, know that you're never going to be broker than you are today. Know that no matter what, every couple weeks, every week, whatever your payday is, that you're going to add to that, and you're going to be richer than you were the week before. Period. And I mean, doesn't that alone sound like a key to wealth? Is the fact that you're going to be richer every day, while the most average American is getting poorer every day, dipping into their credit and spending more than they make. Whereas you are spending less than you make, and you're making more to spend more, and you're gaining more money. Now I'll end this video off with a story. When I first started out trying to do this, my girlfriend thought I was nuts. Now, although from a very young age, I've always been trying to, make money, and I've done several businesses, and I've made a lot of money doing them, I never really had any money to hold on to. Much like other Americans, I was sitting there and I was spending more money than I had and dipping into credit, and I thought I was living the dream until one of my income streams dried up. Now, having a lot of bills and not having the money to pay them really hurt. And that's when I got this advice and I finally read this book, The Richest Man of Babylon, that a lot of millionaire friends of mine had been recommending to me. And when I read it, it told me to save 10% of my money. And I was like, well, this is a little crazy, but from looking at it and studying it, using accurate thinking, like I'll much talk about in later videos, I decided that it was a good idea and that I should start doing it. So I went up to my wife at the time and I told her, honey, I know we don't have enough money to pay our bills right now, but I'm going to have to start taking 10% of our money and putting it away. And we can't touch that money. That money's solely for investments. We can't pay our bills with it. We can't do anything with it. And she thought I was nuts. Okay? She just about flipped the lid, but being, the caring, loving wife that I have, she supported me. She said, okay, honey, if you think this is best for the family, I know you wouldn't do anything that wasn't good for the family, then let's do it. So we did it. And from then on, I don't know why, but my budget did naturally adjust. I didn't notice the money was missing. But in addition to that, I felt richer than I'd ever felt before. I had huge sums of money starting to pile up off of the little bit of money that I was making, and off of not being able to went from not being able to pay my bills to getting completely out of debt. I went debt-free from then, which we're going to have another video on getting debt-free, because that's another very important key, is the way I see it. And I went from, being deep in debt, not being able to pay my bills, to all of a sudden I felt richer than I've ever felt before. I had all kinds of money. And then I don't know what happened, but I decided for a while to stop saving. I took that 10% and I decided to blow it on, whatever it was that I was going to blow it on that week. And I started to feel poor again. I started to feel broke again. Now, I don't know why, but without having that 10% put away and not being able to spend it, but having it put away for me, made me feel a lot richer than just being able to go out and spend the freaking $60 that I was putting away that week, that $120 that I was putting away a week, whatever it happened to be that week. So in end, just pay yourself first, guys. Do yourself a favor, live rich, and know that tomorrow you are always going to be richer than you were today. Thank you guys. Have a great day.